A very good afternoon and thank you so much for keeping it NBS Television. Welcome to NBS Live at 1 with me, Tracy Kansimi. Now this afternoon we begin with the committee sessions in Parliament as the Finance Committee deliberates. Let's now head there and listen in.
So my question is, can't there be investment in research? This is aside because I'm trying to echo what you said last. In the use of tobacco in other fields, so that one, we protect the farmers who grow it, but also widen our tax bases based on other products produced from tobacco.
Okay. Thank you very much. So you have taken our views, just like the Alcohol Alliance. As you take leave, we want to encourage you to constantly engage government. Don't wait for bills when they are out. Constantly engage government. Also engage members of parliament. If you have an alliance, engage members of parliament. We have now many new members of parliament who may not appreciate, so that in future it becomes easier for us to support your advocacy. With that, thank you very much, and we now have two remaining categories of stakeholders, the bankers and the mobile money. The clerk has told me that we start with the bankers. They arrived first, but we are going to be very fast. So can I request the bankers? Where? Where are the bankers? Can you sit in front and then raise your issue, then after we deal with MTN and the Airtel.
Good afternoon, Chair and honorable members. My name is Joel Nalwairo. I serve at Uganda Bankers Association, and with me is an able team that will chair for purposes of time. Allow me to introduce them. On my immediate left is Trevor Lukanga, our tax advisor, followed by Ronald Makata, and then Patricia Muganga. Chair, the proposals or the presentation that you're going to hear from the UBA is a presentation that has proposals that are fully in support of the government 10X strategy. So without wasting much time, Chair, let me hand over to Ronald to make the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. Good afternoon, honorable members and Chair. In the interest of time, just as I was introduced for the record, my name is Trevor Lukanga Bwanika. I work with PricewaterhouseCoopers and I'm an advisor to the Uganda Bankers Association. So in the interest of time,
a particular committee session continues on NBS Live. Go ahead and download Afro Mobile and continue with the updates. But moving on, as Uganda hosts the National Performance Review Conference, reports show mixed progress across 20 programs under the National Development Plan. 4 gains were registered in petroleum, justice and tourism, while challenges remain in human capital, minerals and regional growth. Experts urge stronger anti-corruption efforts, fiscal discipline and faster digital transformation. I'm now joined by Edgar Matthew Karhanga, who is on this particular story. Edgar, share with us details from what this particular report has revealed.
Thank you so much, Tracy. First of all, this conference is mainly to track the progress of some of the plans we have as a country, as a continent, Africa, but generally as a world. And one of the visions we aspired for is to be a $500 billion economy, that is by 2040, that is domestically here. But we also have what they call the African Agenda 2063 that seeks to make Africa a powerhouse in those particular years, a few years from now. It also comes in line with the SDG goals of 2030 of ensuring that those sustainable development goals have been achieved globally. So this conference that is happening right here at Speakery Resort Munyonyo is to mainly fast track this, to understand where are we as a country, as a continent, and understand where we could improve, and also celebrate some of the strides that we have made. So let me start domestically here. As a country, we've made tremendous strides, as you've mentioned in your preamble, that sustainable development of petroleum right now is at 64.8%. That is something that is performing well in line with our vision at 2040. Then we also have the administration of justice, which is at 63.7%. That means it's also working well. Then also tourism development is working out steadily with at least 60%. Then there are some challenges that we are still facing here in order to achieve that particular vision of 2040, and that means human capital development, Tracy, still remains low at 34%. That means not many Ugandans have been developed enough with adequate skills and knowledge to achieve these particular goals. Then there's also mineral development. It's still also a challenge at 39%. And then lastly is regional development or integration, which still is limiting at 41%. So experts who have been speaking here, including the Prime Minister, Right Honorable Robin Anabanja, and other government leaders, we're talking on some of the issues that have affected us or have crippled us from achieving these goals of Africa 2063 and Vision 2040. Among these is corruption. This is not actually affecting Uganda as a country, but generally as a continent. Most of our systems are corrupt. Then the other issue is the debt burden. Remember, most of the countries and the presentations we are talking here, we are reiterating and talking about how most of them are challenged with debt burdening. The cost of financing the debt is too high. In countries like Cameroon, it's at 55% of the entire budget. So those are some of the challenges. Then also, the wrath of climate change has also affected this vision. And maybe lastly, the global tensions and wars that we're experiencing, especially in the Middle East. These are some of the things. No, lastly, there are some recommendations, Tracy, that have been made on how we can achieve these goals. And first is we should build a financial sovereignty capacity as Africa. We should be able to fund our own programs and not rely on donor funding, which is actually reducing by the day. Then they've also said we reinforce regional integration. And according to some of the speakers, the more the merrier, and the more we are together is the stronger we are. So I'll be giving you more details, Tracy, about what is happening here, and you should know that there's progress that has been made, but there are still challenges that are still remaining. I'll be giving you more details. And right now it's Amos Lugolobi, the State Minister for Finance, who's presenting, and I'll let you maybe hear in from him as we continue with NBS Live at 1.
Well, Edgar Matthew Karhanga there, many thanks for joining us. And indeed, the details of this particular conference will be continuing in our subsequent bulletins. Kasese municipality authorities, with support from security agencies, have launched enforcement operations targeting illegal business structures to restore order. Traders in prohibited areas have been urged to comply as officials intensify enforcement of the urban planning regulations. The crackdown focuses on the central business district and the road reserves, with authorities issuing a final call for compliance. I'm joined by Fad Masereka, who is in Kasese. Fad, a very good afternoon. In many other districts, there is indeed quite the feedback, quite the stance from the traders squaring off with security agencies. Is it peaceful where you are in terms of the enforcement process?
A very good afternoon, Tracy. Good afternoon, our viewer. Well, just like you said, in so many other districts, the enforcement is really very tough. It has beaten really hard on the traders that are actually trading in areas that are illegal. And here in Kasese today, we are supposed to actually have this exercise kickoff. And indeed, the leadership and security is within the town, assuring that the people that are trading illegally on the streets and elsewhere that is not allowed are actually getting off those areas. But then today's activity seems more of a sensitization rather than enforcement, because we have not seen really any person being evicted forcefully, but then they are talking to them simply to vacate these places. The message is one, that please get off the streets, get off these areas where we are not supposed to trade, get off all your illegal structures, and that is the message today. But we also heard that it is tomorrow, that then should they not heed to the advice today, then tomorrow it is the day that they will be forcefully evicted. But then we also understand that there has been a lot of notices given to the people that have built illegally in areas that are not supposed to be built in. And we believe some of them have actually done what is required. Some of them are actually demolishing their houses by themselves, while some of them are still defiant on doing what is right. And some of the people that we actually saw and had an interview with, those that have been affected so far, we are saying they do not have anywhere to go, especially those that are trading not in food and all that. Those that are, for instance, the welders, they say they do not have anywhere to go. They deal in activities that require a lot of space that they do not actually have, and they were requesting the municipality authority to find them some space. Otherwise, they do not have anywhere to go. And we continue to follow this team until the end of today and see what actually will happen today and tomorrow. Back to you, Tracy, at the Political Command Center.
Masereka, many thanks joining us from Kasese. In a related development, Rubare Town Council authorities under tight police security today enforced a trade order, leaving traders in shock as their property was violently destroyed using pangers, hammers and axes. The abrupt operation followed the expiry of a 14-day ultimatum and paralyzed business on a busy market day, sparking outrage and heavy losses among traders. Bridget and Cementa joins us with the details.
I'm in Rubare Town Council here in Rushenyi County in Tungamo district, and today they are enforcing the trade order at this particular space where I am standing. As you can see just in the background, these are some of the temporary structures. As you can see, people started demolishing these structures willingly the previous week. At the start of this week, so they started demolishing these structures to be able to secure some of these. But today, we saw that men dressed in yellow, holding pangas, hammers, axes, storming this particular station or this particular town, demolishing the rest of the temporary structures, including kitchens, including toilets, including verandas, balconies. All this was left down. I happened to speak to the town clerk of this town, that is Rubare Town Council, Emmanuel Yamukama, and he had something to say. Let's first get to watch what he says, and then finally I will give you the detail of this story.
Only that today we concentrated on opening service lanes where we had numerous toilets that we are within. So we demolished them plus the temporary structures. So we didn't have any resistance because the people of Rubare have already seen what is happening in other areas. So they cooperated and we have no problem. And even we have made sure that all structures that needed to be demolished were demolished without any favor. Some of the structures you saw without X, some X were put, but they just robbed, thinking that the people who would come to demolish would only look at X, yet they were there, but they were robbed. So, but everybody was warned about it.
That is the town clerk of this town, and that is when he was speaking to us, telling us how it has been moving since morning, saying that the people have cooperated. Yes, the cooperation started way earlier, as the people working in this station, yes, had to willingly or at individual basis shift their kiosks. That's why most of the kiosks have not been tampered with, simply because the owners demolished them themselves. There has been a very big number of kiosks totaling to 300 and plus. at this particular spot. This is Kamocha. That has been a home of kiosks and containers, as well as furniture, businesses, all in this space. But the people had to cooperate and shift them. And when it comes to the other affected people, those that have been dealt with today, some of the issues that they highlighted, they noted that the council did not give them enough time. The council did not tell them that they were also going to work on two sanitary facilities, because we saw the council also deal with those with toilets and also demolish them. And others said that some of their buildings were not earmarked for demolition, but today they saw the council come with the enforcement team and demolish those structures that did not have X onto them. Yes, and that was the worry. When it comes to balconies, verandas, all this was not spared. That is the trauma. That is the trauma that was left into the hearts of the people, or into the face of the people of Rubari Town Council. And this also is to be carried on tomorrow until the whole town council is cleared, as they prepare for a municipality status as Rubari Town Council.
Bridget Cimenta joining us there from Rubari. It is the nationwide enforcement of the trade orders leaving chaos in its wake, and hopefully that all gets resolved. But in news elsewhere, Germany's coalition has agreed on 1.6 billion euros in fuel tax relief for households and businesses, breaking a political deadlock over how to address an oil price spike triggered by the Iranian war. For more, we're joined by correspondent Thomas Sparrow from our partners at DW in Berlin. We certainly will be getting back to Thomas in just a bit. Certainly more of those stories coming up, but rather interesting in terms of just how the extent has come in relation to the Iranian conflict between Iran, US and Israel. We'll continue to certainly bring you up to speed with what's happening across the country and, of course, across the world. That and many more stories coming in. But now we are joined by Thomas Sparrow in this particular story in terms of this particular development. Thomas, thank you for joining us. How significant is this fuel tax cut for German consumers in practice? And is there even evidence it will meaningfully curb inflation or simply offer short-term political relief? Thomas.
Well, Germany, and not only Germany, is actually discussing how really to help consumers, how really to help citizens when it comes to some of the big problems that we're facing now because of the war in the Middle East, because of all the problems in the Strait of Hormuz. I'm sure there is a debate that is happening also in several African countries. And what the German government basically announced with that temporary emergency relief is something that will mostly help those who either go to work with their vehicles or who use their vehicles for some of their businesses, so lorry drivers, delivery firms, and so on. But it is not necessarily something that will help some of the poorer members of German society, some of the families that depend on low incomes, that maybe do not necessarily have a car, but use public transport to go to work. So that is one of the main points that is actually being criticized about these temporary relief measures here in Germany. What's interesting, it's also that it's not necessarily something that could curb inflation on the long term. This is something that experts have clearly stated. Now, inflation in Germany is 2.7%. It is lower than in other parts of the world, but that's high for German standards. So as such, it is something that does worry the German government, and that has increased pressure on the German government to do more to really help consumers at this very difficult time.
Thomas, the government is doing something, but we also want to find out what the reactions are from the citizens, especially from this move by government.
Well, exactly, because this is a movement that is, or a decision that is basically seen as a political decision, not necessarily a decision that will have a big economic impact on the medium to long term. So as such, those who benefit from this on the short term, those who will have that relief and who will notice that relief, see this with a positive light. But others are actually more critical, saying specifically that the measures are poorly targeted, that they target those in society that rely on their cars, but not necessarily help those who are actually most in need, because they have been affected by increase in prices, by other difficult situations that have arisen in the last few weeks because of the war in the Middle East. So that's basically the criticism that you see here in Germany. By the way, also criticism that I can imagine coming from other parts of the world when it comes to decisions that governments will take to help citizens, to help consumers at a difficult time, especially after all the effects of the war in the Middle East in economies worldwide.
Some reaction right there, but from a European perspective, how does Germany's move compare with what we're seeing in other EU countries that are facing similar energy and cost?
Exactly, that's an important point, because this is not only a German problem. It's, by the way, not only a European problem. I would say that is something that other countries and regions around the world are also facing, from sub-Saharan Africa to Latin America, from Middle East to Asia. These are all issues that are affecting citizens worldwide, and as such, there's an interest in understanding, A, what different countries are doing, whether it's a tax relief or a specific price cut, or whether it's giving vouchers to citizens. Those are elements that are being discussed in different countries, but also what's happening politically, because ultimately there's an understanding that the best way to really curb the damaging effects of the war in the Middle East is to put an end to the war in the Middle East, and that can happen basically through through diplomacy, and that's why the German government, but also other governments in Europe, are also focusing on what role they can play diplomatically to help bring an end, a lasting end, to the war in the Middle East. So it's on the one hand about economic relief, it's on the other hand also about political and diplomatic solutions.
Thomas Sparrow, many thanks for joining us this afternoon. Well, certainly the world continues to react to all of the action happening in the Middle East, and ours here is to make sure that you're up to speed with what is happening in terms of that development. We're now taking a short break. When we come back, more stories coming up.
We're not made to be alone. It's baked deep in.
When you don't use Momo, you are forced to quarrel.
Abantu abakulu atandise obuyayi iwe sente dange ninzadde kolera ngobi nakolera sente dange.
Save yourself from quarreling. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3# to pay and enjoy zero charges below 5k. That's the power of Momo.
Some snacks for you, your man, papa, your granny and your picnic. Well, if I can, the snacks for you. Come pick anything you want. Some snacks for your tummy. Yummy, yummy.
Sam's, delivering memorable moments in every household.
Looking for a household cleaner that truly delivers? Meet Appo, the antibacterial cleaning powder for bathrooms and surfaces. Appo is formulated for 3-dimensional cleaning. It's a scouring agent that scrubs off dirt and stains, a germicide that kills 99.9% of household germs, and it works with water to wash everything away, leaving your bathrooms and ceramics hygienic and sparkling clean. Keep up hygiene standards without breaking the budget. Switch to Appo today. Appo is available at supermarkets and convenience stores countrywide.
Are y'all ready? Uganda, the real dancehall party is on. Africa One presents Safari Beats featuring the queen of dancehall straight from Jamaica.
Big bumper girl, Spice!
Stay down there, girl. Stay down there. Spice, she's checking in to taste the Rolex, jump on a boda and experience the real Uganda. Then shut it down with a massive concert at Lugogo Cricket Oval, 9th May 2026, alongside Cindy, Winnie Nwaji, and Carol Casita. Tickets are available now on Quicket, M-Ticket, *252# and FlexiPay. Powered by Uganda Tourism Board, Nile Special, and Wazo Dazo.
Start something new, something uplifting, something so effortless and golden. A thirst-quenching burst of sweetness and malty flavor, so rich and full of memories. It's 100% taste, 0 alcohol. Try it, savor it, feel it elevate every moment. Sip after sip, gulp after gulp. After all, life's about turning ordinary thrills into golden chills.
Start something malty with the new Evervest Malt Apple and Pineapple. Try the burst of sweetness and malty flavor. It's 100% taste, 0 alcohol. Available in a shop or supermarket near you. Evervest Malt. Make every moment golden. Evervest Malt is from the makers of PepsiCo.
I enjoy to look after myself by coming to Don's Organic Spa for massage, pedicure and manicure, facials, salon, like they have it all here. Sometimes I come with my girlfriends twice a week and I feel so refreshed, renewed. Like I'm just so happy that this place is full of life. It's full of life. That's all I can say.
Welcome back. You are watching NBS Live at 1 with me, Tracy Kansime. Chief Justice Dr. Flavia Nzeja has urged legal professionals to expand access to justice beyond courtrooms by serving communities through alternative mechanisms. Speaking at Kabale University's Law Faculty Dinner in Kabale District, he warned that limiting practice to courts excludes many Ugandans, noting most rely on religious, clan and traditional dispute resolution systems. Lukia Nantaba has the details.
The faculty, there are still very few, there are still very young people. We are still struggling on how to increase our staffing at a higher level. We are in covered in a rural area. Sometimes we advertise, we don't get the right kind of people because people don't want to go to the village as they say. And the Kampala people keep on saying, cover the water.
In this game of nation building, we have leaders who are called to serve for a time and must meet the challenge of the time.
If we limit our role to the courtroom, we abandon 90% of our fellow citizens. And your role beyond the court is to be a peacemaker. So to the students, as you sit in this hall tonight, even if you may have your own personal challenges, please be mindful that you are among the privileged few. With this privilege comes a profound debt to those who cannot afford a lawyer. I challenge each of you to commit to pro bono services, legal aid, pro bono service legal aid given freely to the vulnerable. Not every time that the person who comes to you must charge fees if you do legal practice. At least have a few people who can come and say, I had a challenge and so help me. Whether it is helping a widow in a remote village against sexual land rights or guiding a youth group through a legal registration, your impact beyond the courtroom is measured by the lives you stabilize without a fee. Let your legacy not be the size of your bank account, but the number of families you kept from injustice because you chose to serve.
Now that story brings us to the end of NBS Live at 1. For more on these stories, join us in our subsequent bulletins. But a quick reminder from our friends at UEDCL in terms of power interruptions and how you should be preparing for that is also coming up. You should be preparing, especially with the planned shutdowns that are happening. That will be right here with us in just a bit. There you go. Planned shutdown as of April 14th, 2026. UEDCL informs its esteemed customers in Fort Portal City and Chenjojo, Chibare, Bundibujo, Ntoroko, Masindi, Biso, Hoima City, Chiboga, Chankwanzi, Kagadi, Vinyangabu and Kikube that there will be a planned power shutdown on Thursday, April 16th, 2026 from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. This shutdown is to allow all our supplier, the Uganda Electricity Transmission Company Limited, to safely carry out critical system improvement works at the Fort Portal 132 kV substation. Now, affected customers are advised to switch off their electrical appliances and production lines until power supply is fully restored. Any inconvenience caused is highly regretted. Signed by John Nkiza, who is also the head corporate and stakeholder affairs. There you go. Plan accordingly with that particular update. Well, we now get into lunchtime sport with Fifi, Pinky and Stuart. Good afternoon.
Erimu kukola tigaawo si nyangu Champions League naye Premier League Arsenal China apa handi okubanga etwale kikope kyo.
Amanyi ga Arsenal galiwa this time around kumpira guno.
Amanyi ga Arsenal still nze nkyagawa back ya Arsenal. Ekisenge kyabwe tikyali gumite ng'enjogera ennaku zino.
Gumite.
Kiri gumite. Kiri gumite. Kino tekiri gumite. Kiri gumite. Kyatabbumuko okukiyitamu awo okukyesonseka okugenda okutuuka kuraya wali. Olina okuba ng'okoze ebintu bingi nnyo. Yes.
Obadde nti Arsenal basuubiza embuzi nte?
Ebigambo byange abantu njagala.
Kugwa Man City basuubiza ki?
Kugwa Man City. Man City wewangula. Ewa Foskalika tulina crate nya.
Eza soda.
Eza beer.
No, wagambye nte?
Guinness is sponsored by David. Uyachimanyi. That's the only beer.
Obadde ngamba tubadde nga tudagenda kumpewo no ngamba Arsenal olukuba Man City mbuzi.
Nedda sebo. Sikyogedde. Gwe ye confusing. Ngambye. Sibyogedde sebo. Nedda sebo. Ngambye ntinno. Arsenal. Wetawangula kikopo. Ente weri abantu b'Emmengo bonna timu jago ye sponsorinze ente gye tugenda okusala n'ebyenda nga tuwuta. Kiro kiramba mpaka budde kejengi.
Boaz, wama wakati nga tunatera kubanga maaso tumumba mumbere fana beti. Amanyi gaso no kompira gwa Man City soko mbulire gugenda kubeera wa.
Kakati jukira abasambi bange bonna bagenze bakomawo. Twina bifu yaffe. Tugenda kuba Gabriel versus Haaland.
All right. Kale katuna nyonga benyaniza banafa abaliko NBS, the big political command center, and we are here to champion Uganda sport. But this time around, EPL is back on NBS Sport, of course, with a big game. But the big game to watch, we have a big watch party that is between Man City at Etihad Stadium against Team Arsenal. Yeah. And here I'm joined by a number of fans to Bampe and Ozazawe. Nadala game. The party iliku the Villa Bokoto. But one of the staunch Arsenal fans ye agambia ajja kufana omuntu kama mbaya. Obadde changamanti. Amanyiga Arsenal galiwa.
Defense tulikiria. Ne goalkeeper ne tulikiria. Mu maaso wano naddala wingi zaffe zesitannakola kumpeereza oli omusajja waffe mijokolezo oyo. Naye wanaaterera obulungi. Naye ekirungi Eze yakomyewo. Eza amanyi okuba bubakeniba nakuba butategerekeka era ajamu akapiira ne enemabega wo tuli gumite aba Liverpool be bawumite ne Chelsea
sala tetugenda kubalala tusigale ku line yaffe
Man City ye wumite era sobola
obunafu Man City ku mulondo guno guloza buliwa
Man City naddala maaso eno ne makati Rod Royo kasita tumukwatamu tumanye ngeri ffe tumukwatamu amapeesa emipiira Haaland jja kuba tegimutuukako oyo Semenyo sina tabu kakatono Semenyo oli kagulu kali akatamenyeka yakomyewo timba kigenda muvumbi awo kimumire Rice House ne ngeri Ateta yogedde tujja kulaba ne tuyinawo banjaawo then eri winga endala